All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my screen, so give me one moment. And here we go. So please let me know if you can see this. Can you see this presentation? Okay, I'm getting some chats. Yes, yes, yes. Awesome. Yes, he says yes. Um, Beautiful. Okay, I also want to make sure that people in the waiting room are able to get in. Um, we'll just go on vibes and see how it goes. Okay, so welcome to the second webinar for the QLI webinar series. We are talking um, all about background research and citations. I don't think we're going to go the full hour. I try to go shorter. Um, because we all have things to do, and I'm not trying to take up too much of your time. Um, and this is really a space for us to talk about some specific things related to the QLI project. And then if you have specific questions about your project, I can help to answer them as the program manager. So again, if we haven't met yet, my name is Josiah Williams. I'm the QLI program manager. So I'm your contact person for all things QLI. If you have a question, if your friend has a question, um, you can shoot me an email. My email is going to be on one of the last slides. Um, but I actually had a couple students reach out to me today and yesterday about their QLI project. They're in the um, field research phase and they were wondering a couple of things. So, like I said, if you have questions, always feel free to reach out. Just shoot me an email and I'm more than happy to help out. This is a huge project and my job is to make it as easy for you as possible. All right, there's one in the waiting room joining. So, our agenda, we're going to talk about background research, the research sources specifically. I'm going to go through some of the resources that you have at your disposal. Then we're going to transition to citations, looking at MLA and APA. What does an in-text citation look like, and what does a works cited citation look like? So what is the reason behind this? The reason I'm going to be covering citations so much is because that is the number one issue or the number one thing that students lose points on when grading the proposals. So if your citations are not there, or if you don't have enough, you will get weeded out in the first round of judging. So you really want to make sure that your citations are A1, are beautiful, so that you make it to that second, to the third round, and to the finals. After citations, we're going to talk a little bit about primary sources, and then I'll open it for a Q&A if you have specific questions. Okay. All right, so just keeping an open mind, keeping track of where we are. We're in the background research, so you should have identified a QLI issue that you wanted to study, and you should have narrowed it down. So you should have, by this point, come up with a very specific research question or a specific area that you want to study. And so now we're at the background research, where your goal is to learn more about the specific issue, the topic, the question that you have. And so with background research, we're looking at literature. You're going through a literature review, seeing what already people have studied. You're looking at existing data as well, and you're forming a hypothesis. So what's something that you yourself in your project want to study and want to research based on all of this background information? Right. So with background research, with this section of your proposal, you're building up a foundation that should, when the judge is grading it, that should really indicate, oh, they should be able to say, oh, I know exactly why this student w- developed this research plan, or I know exactly why they got to this question too. So you're building this foundation, getting more and more specific um, to help you as best as possible craft a research plan. And that's secondary research is we'll be looking at literature reviews, we'll be looking at what already exists. So where to go? There are some great resources at your fingertips, such as Google. Um, Google is by far the best resource out there. I love Google Scholar. We're going to go through exactly how to use it as well, but some other places to go, news articles, the New York Times, the Washington Post, these are great sources of information. Your public library. If you were at the resources fair and you met with a Queens College library, um, Brandon talks about all of these great resources that the library has. Um, you could also look at nonprofits. So Wise is a nonprofit, and they have year-end reports where they publish the work that they're doing. So this is a great resource, a primary resource for you to talk about what's being done currently. Museums. So some projects have been on art history, and you go to museums directly to look at the art. That's a great primary resource. And then government websites as well. There's open data available about New York City. There's a lot of information you can glean from going to these government websites. And we're going to review a couple of them. So Google Scholar is my absolute favorite. I'm actually going to go to this page. Verify the screen. So can you tell me? Can you see Google Scholar? Has it popped up on the screen that's being shared? It's in the chat. Yes. Okay. Lovely. Thank you. And then I want someone else to put in the chat, what is your topic that you're studying? If you have a topic. Lack of financial literacy. All right, so that's a huge, huge topic, Sydney. Very important too. All right, so let's type financial literacy. Boom. We have all of these scholarly articles, this literature on financial literacy around the world, defining and measuring. So this is a lot. And what I like to do personally, I've used Google Scholar my entire academic life. Wait, hold on, the screen paused. Oh, what screen are we on? The screen isn't showing. Let's see. Okay. We're still on the slides. Okay. Let me do this. The screen you are sharing. Oh, okay. I'm just gonna unshare and then reshare. Love technology. Love technology. Okay. Share screen. Okay, can we see Google Scholar now? Yes, we can. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay. So, um, what I did, just gonna go back to the home page. We type in financial literacy. And it comes up with all of these. Yeah, Sydney, you're right. I was only sharing one app. It brings up all of these literary articles related to financial literacy. It's beautiful. So much information. All of these are secondary sources that you can use for your proposal or issue brief. What I like to do is pick a time frame. So I like personally doing things that are more recent. So maybe I'll do from 2023 and because with your project you want to narrow the scope. So we're talking about financial literacy. Are we talking about it financial literacy right now or are we talking about financial literacy in 2010, right? So Google Scholar allows you to really select when you want to study it. Um, and we have financial literacy in the digital age. Great, wonderful, wonderful. You can click on this and it takes you directly to that citation or I'm sorry, to that article. If you really like it, you can click save right here and you can add it to a library, your library. So I made a QLI library. Done. Let's see, we're scrolling. Okay. Percy is here. Maybe I like this one, the importance of financial literacy, opening a new field. I'm going to save this one as well to the same place, QLI library. And now I've got all these saved. What happens when I want to cite them, right? I'm going to talk about this later, but I want to show you now. There's this button. It's so helpful. It says cite. You click cite. Are you doing MLA? Are you doing APA? Whichever one you're doing, you just click it and you can copy it. It's beautiful, beautiful. And it's beautiful because it's easy. And I say it all the time. Researchers are lazy. So anything that can make this as easy and seamless as possible for you, take advantage of it. So you like this one, we like the importance of financial literacy. We want to cite that one as well. Copy it here. Um, and it's so, so simple. At the top, you've got my profile, my library. You go to my library. Look, it's these that I saved and I started. I also started psychology a while back, but they're right there. So easy. And this is Google Scholar. Um, uh, and being able to, okay, oops, Percy's here again. Being able to utilize it is such a big part of research, um, and is a great resource to have. So we're back on the slides, and please let me know if my screen ever pauses. Um, you guys are very attentive in the chat. I appreciate it. Um, Google Scholar is great. Your library, like I mentioned, is great. I'm not going to go to this website, but the nypl.org, you need a library card to access some of their resources. So it's a little more restricted, but if you have a library card, that's great. If not, you can get one with a few clicks. Okay. Any questions on Google Scholar or the resources before I transition into citations? Like I said, if you want to off mute, come off mute and say your question, or you want to put it in the chat, however you feel comfortable. Okay. So we're going to keep going. So citations. Remember, if you're doing a proposal, you need 8 citations, and if you're doing an issue brief, you need 3 citations. Now, who could tell me how many of those citations for a proposal has to be a primary source? How many of the 8 citations for a proposal has to be a primary source? One. Yes. Ding, 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 winner. Um, Yes, Leo, one. It is only one. So, of the 8 citations, and you can have more, of course, if you have like 10, 12, 15, you can have all of those. But one of them has to be a primary resource. And we're going to talk about what that means later if you're a little unsure. And it's the same for both. So, for the issue brief, you also need one citation to be a primary resource. So, in terms of citation, I hope we're all familiar with a works cited page. This is where you collect all of your citations that you're using for a paper. They have to be in alphabetical format, so A, B, C, D, E. And they also have to be spaced in this way. The second line or the lines underneath have to be spaced over. A really important thing for your works cited citations is they have to be the same format. So they all have to be MLA or they all have to be APA. You can't pick and choose. Like this one's APA, this one's MLA, because you'll get points taken off for that. And we don't want points taken off. The second thing that you need to remember is that if you have a citation in your paper, so like in the paragraphs and the writing, it has to be in the works cited list, in the works cited page, the bibliography. If it's not there, you get a point taken off and you don't get past round one of grading. That's how strict it is. And that's how competitive this is too, this competition. So make sure that every reference has something that is grounded in the works cited page. My favorite thing, if you were at the resources fair, I mentioned it here, but citation machine, again, the theme of making your life as easy as possible. Citation machine is a great way to make citations. Um, so let's say I like the importance of financial literacy. Here's my article. I'm going to copy the URL and oh, I can't go back to okay, the Zoom thing is getting in the way. I'm going to paste the URL into here and there it is. The importance of financial literacy, opening a new field. I'm going to click Cite and then continue, loading, and then it pulls up the information and this is where you can check the information. Um, oops. You can check the information to make sure that it's all correct and some things it doesn't have. So maybe you want to go back and check the publication and put it in, but it has December 17th for date access and then just complete citation and it gives it to you as APA 7 or you can change it to MLA, right? So this is a great way to make your life a little easier um, and gather those citations. Oh my goodness. So many ads too. That's how they're making money. Anyway, so Citation Machine is great. It's one of the thing I've personally used it when I was an undergrad and doing research papers. Um, and we already went over how Google Scholar does that for you as well. Okay, so for in-text citations, we're going to transition to now we're not in the works cited, but we're in the paragraphs. We're in the writing in the sections. You need in-text citations so that we're not plagiarizing, right? So you don't want to get docked for plagiarism either, and we do have checkers for that. Um, and we also have checkers for AI. So don't use AI to write your papers as well. I did an exercise at the Resources Fair. Um, I had them identifying correct and incorrect citations um, from a paragraph that was made with AI. All of the citations were fake. AI makes up facts and information. So there's you want to stay away from that if you're writing a college level research paper. Anyway, that's just an aside. So for in-text citations, I'm going to go through MLA and APA and just give you some examples. So for example, uh, well, actually for MLA, you include the author's name and page number. There's no comma either. So for the first one, romantic poetry is characterized by the spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings. That's a direct quote. And so in parentheses, we put the last name of the author and the page number, 263. And a point here, the author is not named in the sentence. So that directly contrasts to our second example. Wordsworth extensively explored the role of emotion in the creative process. The only thing you need in parentheses is the page number because the author is named in that sentence. So we want to avoid repetition with MLA formatting. And so I want to go into this first activity where this is an MLA citation uh, example, excuse me, paragraph. And I want to give you about 30 seconds to look it over, to review the paragraph, find the citations, and identify which ones are correct and incorrect. Okay. And put them in the chat, or you can come off mute and tell me which ones are correct and which ones are incorrect. But take about 30 seconds to read this paragraph. Mute. And we're back. Okay, so let's see some of the responses. And first says Miller, comma 21, and Johnson, comma 72 are incorrect because they have commas. Percy agrees. Bronze agrees. And the right ones are Smith 15 ah, and Lee, Lee 113. Um, and oh, is there a typo? Is there a typo somewhere? Oops, typo. No, not on the thing. Okay. Because I had AI create this, so if AI is making typos, it's clearly not as advanced as it is. But yes, we're all right. So for MLA formatting, you don't want a comma. Okay, so let me go back to the last slide. For MLA formatting, there's no comma. That's an important thing here. Now, when we get to APA, it's going to be a little bit different. So the important thing here is that we're in MLA citations. Okay. So if you're using MLA citations, this is the guide. If you're not using MLA citations, take it with a grain of salt. Water off a duck's back. Um, and you can use either one. Um, it doesn't matter. It just has to be consistent. Okay. So now we're going to transition to APA. So let's put our APA hats on. I personally like APA. No reason. It's just like a symmetrical APA. It's an anagram, APA, APA. I love it. But it's also because I've used it my entire academic life. Um, so for APA citations and formatting, um, you're again using parentheses, parenthetical APA, include the author's name and date of publication. Those are the two most important things. So for APA citation, you want the name and you want the date. But be careful because it's separated with a comma. So it's name, comma, date. If we have two authors, name, comma, date. Or you could do name and name, comma, date. Okay. So let's see some examples. Here we go. Activity two, identify the correct and incorrect citations in the following paragraph. Same thing, I'm going to give you about 30 seconds and you can come onto the chat. I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to review this paragraph and identify which citations for APA formatting are correct and which ones are incorrect. So take about 30 seconds and let's see who can identify them first. Although it's not a competition, we're all learning. We're all in this together. Um, I honestly have not been keeping track of the time, so it may be 30 seconds have passed, maybe they haven't. But let's check it out, shall we? Oh, we got some submissions at the last minute. Okay. Um, Lee 2019, Taylor 1. Um, so Ellen says Lee 2019 and Taylor 1 are incorrect. I agree because there is no comma. There is no comma. They don't have commas. I said the same thing. Percy said the same thing. They're incorrect because they have no commas. Right. Smith 2021. That one has a comma. That's good. Um, what about Johnson Minecraft 2021? Do we think that one is correct or no? Depends. What does it depend on? SL, do you want to come off mute or do you want to put it in the chat? What do you think it depends on? Because I love that answer. Oh, they're typing. Because if you state the company without representation, let's see. So for APA citations, for in-text citations, I'm going to go back here. The only thing inside the parentheses is the name of the author and the date of publication. So for Johnson Minecraft 2020, it would be correct if Minecraft is the last name of one of the authors. However, if Minecraft is not the last name of one of the authors, then this would be an incorrect citation here, in-text citation. Because for APA, specifically, you just want the name of the author, comma, the year of publication to keep it simple. So maybe someone's named Minecraft, but if they're not, it gets a little dicey. Okay. Um, do we have any questions about MLA citations or APA citations. Any questions before I move on? You could put it in the chat or you can come off mute if you have specific questions. I'm going to do one more recap. So for MLA, parenthetical citations, you want to include the name of the author and the page number with no comma. Um, and for APA citations, in-text citations, you want the name of the author, comma, date of publication. And it's okay if you're using APA or MLA, keep it consistent. Keep it consistent. So the last thing, the last like in-text citations that I'm going to talk about, I'm going to briefly cover it because only a few students have used this in the past. Footnote citations. So these I did not use until my senior thesis in undergrad, um, because it was for me, it's more work than just in-text citations. And again, like I said, researchers, we're lazy. So we want to do the least amount of work possible. But if you know how to do footnotes, like the hardest part with footnote citations is learning how they work and learning the system and the structure. But once you get that, it's pretty smooth sailing. So if you're using footnote citations, no shade, love that. You'll have a superscript. So it's like if you've been on Wikipedia, they have the numbers, the little numbers. That's what you're using. So you'll use the superscripts inside the sentences to identify your sources. And each superscript will have a corresponding number at the bottom of the page. So there's a way in Microsoft Word to do this just automatically for you, which is super nice. Um, and so we'll see right here. Um, in the footnote for MLA, so footnotes for MLA, the footnote should give more details about the source, like the author's name, title, publisher, and date, and page number. So this is why I said it's a little bit more tricky because there's more information that you have to include. And please do not fret. I'm going to be sending out this uh, uh, PowerPoint to everybody in attendance and to all of your teachers as well. So you will have this information um, as you're writing your proposals and issue briefs. So you have a number one, and the footnote looks like John Smith, Customer Satisfaction Survey, New York, Acme Press, comma, 2023, page 12. Okay, a lot of information. After you cite John Smith, every subsequent citation only needs to be Smith, the title, and then page number. Okay. And then for APA, it's very similar, very similar. You've got the author's name, title, publisher, and date, and page number. Okay. So the same thing. Smith J, 2023. It's the same information, just in a different order. And that's essentially footnote citations. Very general overview. And here's what I was talking about. Microsoft Word really helps you out. So I just typed this up for just for fun. The QLI program is a staple of the WISE College and Career Readiness Initiatives. There's our first footnote citation. The program leads students through identification of a quality of life issue that affects their community and the development of an innovative solution addressing the problem. Of course, you all already know this. So in Microsoft Word, because you're innovating in this program. Anyway, so in Microsoft Word, you're typing, you go to references, and then you see insert footnote. So you insert footnote, and that pops up the one, and that also creates something here where you would put your citation to the WISE website. So it's all very just button, and then type it out here if you choose to go down that route. Which is completely up to you. You're free to do what you would like in the universe of writing your QLI proposal. Okay. So we've gone through citations. We've talked a lot about citations. Now I'm just going to transition to briefly mentioning primary sources because it's less important at this phase, you should be thinking about maybe what research you want to do. But if you're in the background research, you're in that, you're drafting your background research section. Um, your research plan is going to be a little bit less important. But remember, you do need one primary source for a proposal and one primary source for an issue brief. So we're going to talk briefly about what that could include. So if you go to the library, you go to the museum, a primary resource includes art, newspaper articles from the time of an event, historical artifacts. A lot of these you can see at the Met or at any of the MoMA even, the museums around the city. Personal letters, diary entries, photographs, government documents, speeches, interview transcripts, autobiographies, scientific lab notebooks. All of these are primary sources that you could include in your background research section. Um, another primary resource or other primary resources include interviews, surveys, focus groups, or open data sets. Um, so New York Open Data is a really great resource to have. So let's say, for example, you're studying housing prices in New York City. You can go to the open data and look for data related to buildings, related to housing, and that's your primary resource for this project or for this proposal. So it's a great place to look and a great place to get that data to further your background research and really hone in um, on your specific research question. And it's just opendata.cityofnewyork.us. You can also, for your primary resource, you can interview an expert. So for those of you that were at the resources fair, you got connected with a lot of officials working all across New York City. You can interview a government official, heads of agency, professors. Just shooting them an email is great. And also, I use me as a resource to get you connected to these people. Like if you want to talk to someone you met at the resources fair, you want to talk to someone at the Ready Center, reach out to me and I'll put you in contact with them so that you can reach out and ask for more information. Maybe set up a meeting. So when you email these people, you just say, "Dear Miss, Mr. Mix, introduce yourself, introduce your research, ask what you want. What do you want from this person? How can they help you?" A lot of times it's, what is your department doing to study rising housing costs or to address rising housing costs? Or could I schedule a brief meeting with you over Zoom to talk about the cost of groceries in my neighborhood? Um, and then always asking them who they would recommend to contact is great. So this is a networking opportunity. One of the biggest skills that students get from this program is the ability to network. So getting connected with somebody who puts you in contact with someone else, puts you in contact with someone else. That's how you get a job. That's how you um, get opportunities, right? So that's a great skill to have and to build through this program. And that's it. So I'm gonna open it for questions in a minute. But I wanted to just say, so here's where we're at, and here's where we're going next. So you should have by this point chosen a quality of life issue and really narrowed it down to a specific community, location, time frame, etc. And now you should be in the secondary research phase or ahead of that. If you're ahead of that, perfect, wonderful. And you should be thinking about creating a field research plan. So you should have a specific enough issue and topic that you're developing it into a research question or a hypothesis. So over break, over holidays, you should be drafting your background research section and coming up with a research plan. That could be surveying your school. That could be doing observational research in your neighborhood. That could be uh, conducting interviews with your peers or with teachers. And so when we get back from school or from holidays, you should be going headfirst into the data collection and the researching phase of this project. then analyzing the data, and then we'll talk about coming up with the recommendation to address the problem. We'll talk about that later because that's months away. So no need to worry about that too much now. And then, like I said, for any questions or additional information that you need from me, you can reach out here. My name is Josiah Williams. I use they, them pronouns, and my email is jwilliams@wise-ny.org, or you can call the office at this number here. So if you want to take a picture of that, you can reach out. I can put you in contact with the experts that you met at the resources fair, or with anyone else from the Wise Arsenal. And then last thing before questions is our attendance sheet. So scan this with your phone. I'm also going to put the link in the chat in a minute. Fill out this attendance form to keep track of your attendance. Remember, the more that you attend these webinars in person, the more times your name gets entered into the raffle to win a $50 Target gift card at the end of the year. And we may do a couple drawings, so if your name's in here like 4 or 5 times, the odds will be ever in your favor. Um, yeah, so here is, oops, thought it would stay on that slide, um, but it is not. So here's the QR code, and I'm about to put this in. Okay, I'm about to leave the screen. Here we go. Excuse me 1 second. I'm going to put this in the chat as well if you don't have your phone on you, or if you don't have a phone. Some people don't have phones these days. You can also fill it out here. Oops. Wait, I gotta send it to everybody. Excusez-moi. Okay. Perfect. So once you fill that out, you are free to leave. If you have any additional questions for me, I'm gonna stay on for a couple more minutes and answer those questions. But yeah, I hope you got a lot of information out of this. Like I said, it's recorded, so you can always refer back to it if you need to. And yeah, have a good evening and have a good Wednesday tomorrow at school.